The call came at 2:11 a.m. Are you Emily Carter's father? I hadn't heard anyone ask me that in years. Yes. Paper shifted on the other end. She's been admitted after an accident. Critical condition. We need consent. I was already moving. That's not possible, I said. I'm not her contact. A pause. You're the only one who answered. That hit wrong. I pulled on my jacket. Phone pressed to my ear. Call her mother. We did. And silence. Then, no response. I stopped for half a second. Claire never ignored calls like this. Not emergencies. Not her daughter. Try again, I said. We've called 3 times. I ended the call and stepped outside. Cold air. Empty street. My phone buzzed immediately. Hospital confirmation. Patient. Emily Carter. Emergency contact. Daniel Carter. I stared at it. I didn't put my name there. She made sure of that. I checked it again. Same result. Same name. I got in the car. Engine on. Hands steady. This wasn't a mistake. She didn't call me, but somehow, this call still came from her. I pulled out of the driveway without looking back. Because one thing was already clear. I wasn't supposed to be there, which meant someone made sure I was. By the time I reached the hospital, they were already waiting. Not asking. Expecting. Relationship. Father. No hesitation. No verification. Like that answer had been pre-approved. They moved fast after that. Forms placed in front of me. Lines marked. Sign here. I didn't argue. I watched. They treated me like I belonged there. Like I hadn't been cut out of her life on purpose. No one asked where her mother was. That wasn't normal. That was avoidance. I signed anyway. Consent. Liability. Authorization. My name filled spaces I hadn't touched in years. No one questioned it. That bothered me more than anything. When I saw Emily, I stopped at the doorway. Machines first. Then her. Still. Quiet. Controlled by something else now. A bruise along her temple. Bandages. Numbers replacing decisions. I didn't go closer. I didn't touch her. I didn't know if I still had that right. A doctor stepped in beside me. Head trauma. We're monitoring. How stable? A pause. For now. For now meant unstable. It always did. I nodded once and stepped back. Outside, a nurse handed me another file. Insurance details. I glanced down, then looked again. The address listed under her name wasn't hers. Not the last place I knew. Not Claire's house. Something else. I held the paper up slightly. This is wrong. The nurse didn't correct me. Didn't explain. Just said, we've had some inconsistencies. Not confusion. Not error. Inconsistencies. I gave the paper back. A social worker approached next. Calm. Measured. Careful. Routine questions. Job. Residence. Contacts. I answered what I could. Left the rest empty. She checked her screen. Paused. Just for a second. Then continued. Like nothing had happened. That pause wasn't random. It was controlled. Like she already knew something and decided I didn't need to hear it yet. I stepped back toward the room. Looked through the glass. Emily didn't move. Didn't react. Didn't ask for anyone. Not her mother. Not me. No one. And that's when it shifted. This wasn't distance anymore. Something was missing. The first red flag came from a nurse. Casual tone. Routine voice. We tried reaching all listed contacts. And? I asked. She adjusted the monitor. No one picked up. Not once. That wasn't normal. Claire didn't miss calls like this. Not emergencies. Not her daughter. Second red flag. The address. I asked for a copy. They printed it. Utilities disconnected. Mail returned. No recent verification. I read it twice. Not outdated. Abandoned. Emily didn't abandon places. She upgraded them. Moved forward. Not like this. Third red flag. Billing. Coordinator walked me through numbers. Charges already stacking. Insurance flagged. Authorizations missing. Who's been handling this? I asked. She checked the file. Scrolled. Stopped. It's unclear. Unclear wasn't a gap. It was a cover. Fourth red flag. Timing. Everything wrong. Was recent. Weeks. Not years. Not slow decay. Fast movement. Clean. Deliberate. I stopped asking surface questions. Who has legal authority? I said. The social worker returned. Same tone. Same control. But this time, she brought a folder. There is a power of attorney on file. She handed it to me. I didn't open it immediately, just looked at the cover. Then inside, Emily's name, her signature, official, valid. I checked the date, then checked it again, because it didn't match. It was recent, too recent. I looked up. When was this used? Silence. No confusion, no correction, just silence. I looked back down, followed the timeline. Activation date, hospital intake, overlap, clear. It was still active, after she was already here, after she couldn't sign anything. I stared at the signature, then at the timestamp, then back again. Someone used her name. Without her, I closed the folder. Slowly, every red flag, the silence, the missing calls, the abandoned address, the gaps, it all locked into place. Not random, not coincidence, built. And for the first time, I wasn't trying to understand what happened. I was starting to see who was doing it. I didn't confront anyone. Not yet. I stepped into the hallway and started calling. Claire. Voicemail. Her husband. Voicemail. No urgency in either recording. No tension. Like nothing had happened. Like she wasn't in a hospital. I ended the calls and opened my laptop. Hospital Wi-Fi was enough. I pulled property records. Started with the address listed under Emily's name. Ownership history. Recent activity. The house was gone. Sold 3 weeks ago. I checked the buyer. Not a person. An entity. No face. No name. I moved to the next layer. Vehicle registration. 2 cars under her name. Both transferred. Different days. Same structure. Same type of buyer. Not random. Sequenced. I checked financial notices. Account closures. Transfers flagged. Everything happened inside a tight window. Days apart. Too fast to question. Too fast to stop. I opened the power of attorney again. Looked at the signature. Then the date. Then the transfer records. They aligned. Perfectly. Not before. Not after. Right when everything started disappearing. I stopped there. That wasn't timing. That was coordination. I kept going. Insurance next. Policy details. Recent update. Primary contact changed. Not Claire. Not Emily. Someone else. A third name. I didn't recognize it. I searched it. No direct link. But the address attached to it matched the entity that bought the house. I read it twice. Then again. That name didn't belong there. Which meant it was placed there. I picked up my phone. Called someone I hadn't used in years. I need a trace. No context. He didn't ask for one. Send it. I sent everything. Names. Dates. Documents. While waiting, I went back to the hospital desk. I need a full admission timeline. Not a summary. Everything. They hesitated. Then printed it. I compared it to what I already had. Transfers started. Before she was admitted. Accelerated. While she was inside. No interruptions. No delays. I looked at the timestamps again. Clean. Deliberate. Scheduled. My phone buzzed. Message received. 1 line. Funds routed through 3 layers. Same destination. I opened the file. Entities. Accounts. Connections. All different on the surface. All leading to one place. Centralized. Controlled. Not scattered. I closed the laptop. Looked down the corridor toward her room. Machines steady. Lights constant. She had no idea. And that's when the direction changed. They didn't lose control. They executed a plan. And walked away clean. Or at least, they thought they did. Which meant, they weren't hiding. They were waiting. And whatever came next, was already in motion. I didn't go back to her room. Not yet. I stood in the hallway and read everything again. Names, dates, transfers. No gaps left. No doubt left. Only one direction. They didn't rush. They didn't panic. They prepared. The story about me, the distance, the silence, the absence. It wasn't damage. It was insulation. Keep me out. Keep me irrelevant. Make sure I wouldn't be here when it mattered. I checked the timeline again. Power of attorney activated. Assets moved. Accounts emptied. Contacts replaced. Then, she ends up in a hospital. Unconscious. Unavailable. Alone. Not a mistake. A sequence. And I wasn't part of it. I opened the third name again. Insurance. Property. Accounts. Same endpoint. Different layers. They didn't just move things. They buried them. I stopped scrolling. That part was done. I wasn't trying to understand anymore. I was confirming. Then I made the first call. Not to ask questions. To confirm what I already knew. Short. Direct. Documents sent. Then the second call. Legal. No context. No explanation. Only facts. I ended both before they could ask anything back. I didn't need discussion. I needed movement. I walked back to the room. Stopped at the doorway. Emily hadn't moved. Machine steady. Breathing controlled. I watched for a moment. Not as a father. Not yet. That part would come later. If it still mattered. Nothing in that room required me yet. Everything outside did. I turned and walked out. At the desk, I didn't slow down. I need full copies of everything tied to her intake. They hesitated. Then printed. I signed. Collected. Sorted. Stacked. Secured. No wasted motion. My phone buzzed. Confirmation. Preliminary review complete. Enough to proceed. I read it once. Then closed it. I didn't need proof anymore. I had alignment. I stepped outside. Cold air. Same street. Different position. They built everything assuming I was gone. They built it carefully. Quietly. Efficiently. They were wrong. I opened my contacts. Scrolled past names I hadn't touched in years. Stopped. Pressed call. He answered. I'm moving forward. Silence. Then, understood. I ended the call. No follow-up. No discussion. It was already in motion. I got in the car. Hands steady. No urgency left. Only direction. I didn't need to confront them. Didn't need to warn them. Didn't need to be seen. I just needed to start. And once it started, it wouldn't stop. I turned the key. And made one decision. I wasn't stepping back into her life. I was stepping into theirs. The first transfer moved while I was still in the parking lot. Small. Quiet. A test. I didn't react. I watched it go through. Seconds later, a second transfer. Larger. Faster. Confidence. That told me everything. They thought it was safe. I opened the file again. Names. Accounts. Layers. Then sent the full package. No staging. No delay. Everything at once. Complete. Aligned. The response came back fast. Confirmed. Proceeding. I didn't reply. From that point, it wasn't mine to slow down. I stepped out of the car. Cold air. Same street. Different position. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Ignored. Again. Ignored. Third time. I answered. Claire. Her voice was already breaking. Daniel, we need to talk. Not control. Not distance. Need. What did you do? Not anger. Fear. I'm busy, I said. I ended the call. The next one came immediately. Her husband. No hesitation this time. You don't understand what you've started. I let him finish. Didn't interrupt. Didn't argue. Then, silence. I ended the call. The tone had shifted. No control left. Only pressure. Which meant, they felt it. I checked the updates. Assets frozen. Then, access revoked. Then, subjects located. Fast. Clean. Final. I walked back inside the hospital. Same hallway. Same lights. But now, people noticed. A nurse glanced at me. then away. Not routine anymore. Aware. I stopped outside Emily's room. Didn't go in. Not yet. Footsteps behind me. Fast. Uncontrolled. I turned. Claire. Hair loose. Eyes wide. Breathing uneven. You did this, she said. Not a question. A fact. I didn't answer. Her husband stopped a few steps behind. Watching. Calculating. Too late. You have no idea what you've done, he said. I looked at him. Calm. I do. That was enough. Security appeared at the end of the corridor. Not rushing, but moving with purpose. Claire turned. Saw them. And something broke. No, she said. No, this isn't. Her voice cracked. Not controlled anymore. Not convincing anyone. People were watching now. She looked around, like someone expecting support. No one moved. Her husband didn't step forward. Didn't defend. Didn't speak. He just stood there. Still. Silent. And in that moment, he chose himself. That told me everything. Security reached them. No shouting. No scene. Just hands placed. Positions taken. Control removed. Claire tried to pull back. Too late. The structure was already gone. I didn't stay. Didn't need to. I turned back to the door. Looked through the glass. Emily. Still. Unaware. Breathing steady. Behind me. Voices breaking. Steps shifting. Control collapsing. I opened the door slightly. Then stopped. Nothing left to expose. Nothing left to prove. Only consequences. And I wasn't part of them anymore. By the time everything cleared, nothing moved back. Charges filed. Assets frozen. Access gone. Everything stayed exactly where they left it. I signed the discharge. Reviewed the bills. Approved what mattered. Declined what didn't. No discussion. No negotiation. Just decisions. Emily asked questions when she could. Short ones. Direct. Where is Mom? What happened? Why didn't anyone come? I gave her facts. Only what could be proven. No versions. No protection. She listened. Then stopped. Not because she understood. Because she started to see it. Days passed. No calls. No messages. No one trying to fix anything. That was the answer. Later, she said it quietly. I didn't think you'd come. I looked at her. I didn't come because you asked. Pause. I came because I chose to. Another pause. Not because you let me. She didn't argue. Didn't explain. Didn't try to close the gap. That mattered. I arranged what was necessary. Housing. Follow-ups. Structure. Then I stepped back. Not away. Out of reach. Close enough to help. Far enough to mean something. She noticed. Adjusted. Carefully. Nothing returned to what it was. There was no version of that left. Only what would be built next. Under terms that didn't erase me. I didn't fix what was broken. I decided what I would allow. Would you help someone who erased you, or make them earn their way back?